Our students.
Oh, the students by far.
I would say the students.
Plunkett Research Online is not just for our students, using them as tools for their industry, to look for a job, to look for where they can go. It has so many paths to it.
It's used primarily by our business school students whom I support and actually show how to use the resource in various classes that I teach.
I would say probably the undergraduate business students, but certainly the graduate business students.
Basically, our whole business school does. I work as a liaison to hospitality and tourism management, to consumer sciences, retail, and marketing. But we use basically across all the divisions, Plunkett Research for industry research, for like looking at like biotechnology. We have a concentration in biomed entrepreneurship, and Plunkett is very essential to that actual program, because a lot of the medical companies and medical industry information that we can have students find is listed in Plunkett. So it's like one of our sources for that particular class.
Oh yeah, very easy, because you're able to identify the industry real quick and get right into the material.
They seem to find the interface intuitive. They find the information that they need. They like finding that they understand how to use the drop-downs where there are segmented areas of information, and it leads them directly to the types of information that they are looking for.
They say that it's one of the most beneficial sources. Faculty do as well. We have a lot of faculty that are doing the research, and they use it, and they're like, "Oh, I think this is a great resource." They ask questions about it. We've continued to keep subscribing to it. It's one of our top industry sources that we use.
Yes, it's very easy to use. Most of the students nowadays kind of want to go in and sort of fiddle around with it themselves, but I've never had anybody come back and say, "Oh, I can't really find it." They even find the pull-down menus, so it's really great to use.
Very thorough. I like all of the ins and outs of the information that's put in, and I think it's very current.
In terms of what they're doing with this, especially with the biotechnology and the energy stuff, it's definitely very up to date. And some other things that we have, we just people don't highly use, and some of it could be like, say, last update could have been 6 months ago, which is not as up to date as what Plunkett uses.
It's as up to date as anything else that we can get hold of, and the advantage of having Plunkett online is that you're continually updating the material on a cyclical basis during the year.
Well, I think you do a better job with the private companies or the industries for the private companies than a lot of the other databases. You divide it out for students in a way that's very reasonable for them to understand.
In some cases, I think the one thing about Plunkett is it's affordable, because at UNC Charlotte we didn't have the budget that Purdue has, but we were using it and promoting it and keeping it. So another thing is about the affordability of it is a great thing, because we have sources we pay for right now at Purdue that are like $40,000, so people aren't even using them. And it's like, well, we're going to make the cuts, we're going to cut those sources, and we're going to keep the ones that are valuable but not overpriced and just not as user friendly.
No, it actually seems quite stable. The students use it both on and off campus. It works well on campus, and it works equally well through our proxy server.
Not at all. No, it's one of our easiest tools to use. And coming from an undergraduate standpoint, the undergrads really appreciate it, and the MBAs also.
No, not really. It's a very nice access method, interface, very intuitive, so it's easy to find the industry you want and then find the information you need.
In reality, I find that you're very proactive, and I don't need to be calling you all the time. It just works.
Haven't needed it.
I can't say that I've had to use it that much, because basically, it never breaks down. don't think we've ever had to call them. You know, as far as I know, the billing's all good and so forth. So, you know, I think that's one of the messages right there. If you don't have to call anybody, it's always working. You're doing good.
I have had no problems with any technical issues with Plunkett. On a level that anybody complains about, because a lot of our sources, you know, they have issues where they go down or things are not working properly, but I have not had any complaints, which is a good thing. That's what we look at, is I get emails. If something goes down, I get a complaint from a student or faculty member, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
Anytime I ask a question, it's always been answered, and I've never had a problem. You cover industries with predominantly private companies, and when they need to write an industry report on those industries, they can go to Plunkett, and you've gone into associations and government and other resources that they neither know about nor would have the time to collect. That data is hard to find. Our students don't always have time to do that, and that is really, when I'm looking for statistics and industry information for consulting, biotech, and advertising, that's the first place I go.
Yes, I have. I've recommended to several colleagues in other universities, and they've been quite impressed at the ease of subscribing and the scope that the electronic access has as opposed to the cost of the individual print publications.
Yes, I would. In fact, I should mention at my last position as a business librarian at UNC Charlotte, we use Plunkett heavily as well. So when I came to Purdue, it's like I already knew about Plunkett. I love the updates, and I do recommend it to other colleagues. I think, you know, it's very important to spread the word about the best resources.
Yes, most definitely. I think it has a combination of good information, and it covers some industries that really not covered in some of the other types of tools.
Oh, certainly, particularly people with a large undergraduate business population.
I have already. In fact, I've asked the Career Services Department to see if they could buy for the campus, not just the one in the School of Business.